Good morning, guys and gals. Froggy here. What I'm going to show you today is the replacement of a rear leaf spring on a Z06 Corvette. I've got a stock spring in there now, and I'm going to put in this T1 spring, which is a stiffer spring. I just put it on the scale, actually. It weighs 12.1 pounds, and I think the weight's probably going to be the same as the one that came off, but anyway, I thought I'd weigh it for the heck of it. The next time one of your buddies is bragging about coilover springs, ask them how much those coils weigh and all the associated hardware, because that's about 6 pounds per corner. You divide it by 2 for this leaf spring. So just ask him if he weighed it. And not to say coil springs are bad or anything, but some people are under the misconception that there's less weight. These composite springs don't weigh that much. That's 12.1 pounds divided by 2, so that's about 6 pounds a corner. I'm not going to go through showing you what I did to put the car up. It's up on jack stands at the rearmost jacking points. Those are the tie-down holes, and I threw a couple of tires under there just to be safe. I don't think anything's going to happen with those jack stands, but never hurts to have a backup. And this spring, I think, is going to come off pretty easy. I'm just going to use a little bottle jack right there, a bottle jack to jack up on the bolt. What does that do? That takes some of the pressure off the nut at the top, which I'll show you in a second. It's a little hard to get the camera in there, but we're going to jack up on the bottom of this bolt, and we're going to take this nut off. And we're going to take the nut off on the other side. There's a little C-clip on the top. You take the C-clip off. Now, some guys will spin this off without jacking up on the bolt, but there's a lot of strain because there's compression right now between the control arm, the lower control arm is what this is bolted to, and the spring. So by jacking up, I'm putting some weight back onto the car, taking it off the spring, and that way this nut should turn easier. Okay? There's a little C-clip, not a C-clip, it's a little snap ring that I removed using these pliers. Now I'm going to jack up. Alright, you can see where I'm jacking up there. Right on the end, there's a metal cap on the end of this composite spring. Do not jack up on the actual material of the composite spring. It's not delicate, but it's not meant to be jacked on like an old iron leaf spring. So go on the metal cap on the end. You can see that I think I've already got enough tension on this to take this nut off. It's a 21 millimeter on the top, and the bottom is an 18. And I'm going to just try it now and see if I get that nut off. Well, that was pretty easy. There it is off. And now I'm going to lower the bottle jack and go to the other side, and once I've got the tension off both sides, then I just have to unbolt 4 bolts on these brackets that are holding the spring to the subframe in the back. So let me do the other side. I'm going to show you how this is coming off. It starts off hard, but then it's pretty easy. I believe those are squash nuts, which are self-locking nuts on the top. I'll take a closer look at it when I get it off. Usually they have a little triangular marks on them. But see, once you get started, it's really easy. Taking the pressure off the spring, I think it makes all the sense in the world. Everything's just more controlled. If you've still got pressure on there, I mean, you're always worried, is it going to pop loose or whatever. So there we go. Now I need two hands. I'll shut this off for a second. Yeah, this is the nut that was on top. I want to show you this. See, that's a 21 millimeter, but it's squashed almost into not an oval shape, but it's off some. Let me put the camera down and see. Yeah, see, I should be able to show you this. It's really kind of interesting. See that? That's 21 millimeter, right? 21 millimeter. See how it moves a little bit. Now look at this. See how much that moves? That's not 21 millimeter. That's about a 20.5 millimeter. So this is a weird thing that GM does with its nuts, but they are locking nuts. So I guess a 21 is what you need to get it off. But I thought you'd find that interesting. Now I'm going to take the pressure that I had with the bottle jack. I'm going to take the pressure off the spring. Watch, it'll come down just a little bit. There. Now all the pressure's off the spring. The spring has no stored pressure in it whatsoever, so that means it's a safe spring. Now we're going to unbolt the two brackets in the middle. I guess I'll take these off with the air ratchet just because it's quick. Now, if you know how these work, they're not impact, so I usually get started with a regular ratchet. I guess you could just put this on there and pull on it too. I thought I would spare you the noise of that compressor, so I shut the camera off, but as you can see, the spring is out. These came out kind of hard because they're loaded with blue Loctite on there, so they were hard. They backed out hard the whole way. And the air ratchet doesn't really have a lot of power like a half-inch impact gun, so but it's still better than twisting the ratchet by hand. So anyway, we got our spring out. There it is, and we're going to reverse the whole process and put the new one in. Well, you can see there's not as much curve on the new spring. That's the one closest to my feet. Compared to the old spring, it's got more curve to it, so I'm thinking that's going to make a ride height difference. Probably alignment too, so when you're doing these spring changes, you better check ride height and alignment. Now, I'll take a couple other angles of this T1 spring versus the stock Z06 spring, and so you can see what it's like. Here's one looking at them. I don't know. I don't know what you call this angle, but you can see the one in the back is the stock one with more curve to it. The one in the front is the T1 spring with less curve. Let's see, what other angle can I shoot this from? Well, here's some numbers off the springs. Stock one 22188.078 it looks like, and the T1 22188.486. And that one was put on with a, by hand, I think, and this one was stamped. Let's see if you can. Yeah, I think you can see that, and I think you can see that too. Okay, I don't see a front or a back to these, so you know, like a forward or a backward. They seem identical. So let's put the new one in. Oh, there you go. One more sticker there for you. GM Racing Performance Parts. The other side, this is the top side of the spring. The spring is telling me 221-88480. I guess that's the same one that was inscribed on the other side. And there's a yellow code. I think that's a spring rate code, but you'll have to look it up, or I'll have to look it up. I remember on my old 96 LT4, it had, I think, 3 color dots for different spring rates. It looks like the old one is a yellow one also, so we went yellow for yellow. Whether that's good or not, I don't know. There is a torque spec on this. It's transverse leaf mounting brackets, I believe is what it's called, and it's 46 foot-pounds. So I do believe in following the torque spec. So I put some. I renewed the blue Loctite, and I'm putting them at 46. And I'm going turns on each one so that they nestle the spring up in the grooves evenly. You want to make sure the spring is squared off to the subframe. The subframe is squared off to the rest of the chassis, obviously. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, all tight, 46 foot-pounds. Now let's do the bolts on the end. There's no need to use the bottle jack to get the nut started on these. So I'm also anticipating the car is going to be much lower. So the one I took off only had a couple of threads showing on this adjuster, and this one I'm going to put 8 to 10 threads showing, which should raise the height up from where it gets lowered down by this new T1 spring, and then I'll measure it from there the normal way. Okay, driver's side done, snap ring on. I'm not sure what that little snap ring is going to do anyway, but there it is. So I'm not going to show you putting the wheels back on and everything else. That's the end of it. That's putting a rear spring into a C5 Corvette. So if you have any questions, post them up in the comments area. If this is helpful, subscribe to my channel. If you want to see more, subscribe to my channel. If it's helpful, give me a thumbs up anyway. Okay? Froggy out. I'll do another one on the front spring.